Hey everybody, Edo here, and I was absolutely thrilled when the good folks at Roxley and Spin Master Games sent me along a copy of Santorini, New York. Santorini, which is still part of the permanent collection, maybe off camera, but was one of my favorite games from a few years back. Incredible production value and just an awesome two-player abstract game with fantastic art and personality and theme. More Greek mythology. This is New York, but love that game, still have it around. Now, I think technically it does play more than two players, but that game was really a two-player game, stretching to play with more. This, on the other hand, is legitimately a 2 to 5 player game, right? Or 2 to 6. I think it's 2 to 5. 2 to 5. And, you know, it's almost as if the design here was like, could we come up with a new theme for Santorini, and could we do it in a way that it could play more than two people and really feel good? And the answer is yes. Yes, they can. Off the bat, another fantastic production, especially the components and the buildings, and the cards are all good. If you did get the Kickstarter Santorini, you might, you open it up and the insert's not quite as deluxe, and the cardboard's a little different feel to it. It's not a big deal. Very typical of the type of games you find when these games you'll find at Target, mass production. But it's just as good where it counts in all the components. But if you remember Santorini, you're like, that's just such a high bar. I mean, they had a platform that was crazy. But so what's the game though? So, like Santorini, what we're going to be doing is each player has two workers. They're actually, you can't really see it, but there are these small numbers on the board, and based on who you are, you have to put them in pick a number and put both in these different spots. So you're set up to stand a certain ways away from each other, but based on the number of players. So you have a little reference card. You have your workers. And then essentially what happens is 4 roles get dealt out on the table. This is the starting set, but there's there are tons of them. They're all very different that essentially are special abilities. And so in Santorini, you basically got a god and their power, and that's who you were. Where this, they've made it, everyone's going to get all of these, and that's really going to impact how you're playing, which is super neat. So you set up whichever 4 you want, and again, these are the starting 4, and then you build a deck out of cards for each of these types, and essentially the cards are numbered. It's not like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it's from low to high. It says it here, so like the NYPD officer is 2, 5, 8, 11, 14, 24, so there's a range to it, and it's done so there's no overlapping numbers, which is relevant. You'll see in a second. And then, but otherwise it's just copies of these cards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so there's 6 of these. 7, 7, 6, 2, 4, 6, 7. However many dots there are, circles. So you shuffle these up, and then so these are all the other character cards. These are all the descriptions. So you'll pick the 4, and that's all you're going to do. But you need one of each type, and then you'll drop this deck here, and each player is going to draw 5 cards. Now, in this case, I essentially have a set of these different cards, but each with different numbers. I got a lot of engineers here, but let's just get a worker. Let's get this, right? So now we're all going to play a card face down and flip, and based on the number of your card is initiative, who goes first. So the lower number goes first. So here's the really neat twist. Because Santorini is a game where you can win really quickly, which is true here. But what they've done is, based on the number, the lowest number goes first, and the highest number gets the Statue of Liberty. I like this mechanic. Only the person with the Statue of Liberty can win that round. The win conditions are really easy, but you can only do it if you have the Statue of Liberty. So it creates this interesting, everyone trying to stop the person who has the Statue of Liberty. They all get to go before this person because they had the highest card. Makes a really interesting dynamic. Well, how do you win? Well, on your turn, you're going to be able to move your dude and build. And we're building structures, and as you build them, they get higher. You can move up them like stairs, but you can't skip. And the way to win is if there is a 3-high structure and you end your turn on top, you win. If you have the Statue of Liberty, which makes it hard. Other thing a player can do is they can cap it, and if they cap it, you can't jump on it. You can't be standing there. So suddenly, you're blocked. So it's this game where there'll be fewer and fewer options as people get more and more blocked in. You can actually get, stuck, in which case you can't win, but you continue around that process. The other interesting, and so every turn you can do your standard build and move, and you can't just like go through people or buildings, but each character gives you a special ability. So not only are you playing for initiative, but in the case of Ironworker, you must build in 2 different spaces, so it's a double build. NYPD Officer, your worker may move into an opponent's workspace if you can force the worker 1 space straight backwards, so you can bump somebody, like bump, it might be in the way. Subway Operator, you must move your worker north, south, east, or west to first unoccupied space, passing through anything in between, right? So that's a really powerful ability. The Engineer is special because first, you must, at the start of your turn, build one of these gigantic buildings next to you. So if I'm red, build it there. That's just a big blocking behemoth, and there'll be more of them as we play. But then also, you can win by being... Engineers are typically the highest number. Not always, but typically. But by building a rooftop. So it's another way to win. Game can be done in 2 rounds or 3, maybe not 2, but like 3 rounds. It's really quick, and it really is a game where you have to gang up on the leader. Not in a nasty way, but it's if you just don't, that person's just going to win. Like there's an easy way where you're not paying attention, maybe that you didn't see an angle that got cut off, or one of the players wasn't paying attention, and you're like, oh, game's over, they won. But that's sort of the beauty. You can play quickly, you can play competitively, but you can also play it light. I think that the roll call, this is a really nice system. This is a really nice solution to how can we make this more dynamic and support more players in a way that works and is fun. And I really liked it, and they add a lot of variability. If you've played Santorini, a lot of this will feel pretty similar, but the way in which you're dealing with the cards makes it stand out. It's not as deeply strategic. It's not as deeply tactical, or maybe it's more tactical, however you want to look at it. But it has what I like call dynamic tactics, right? Where it's not about a mind lock strategy because you're drawing cards and you don't know what ability people are going to have, so you can't perfectly predict it. So in some ways, it doesn't get as locked up as Santorini. I don't think it either replaces the other, but I do think they're both a lot of fun and can certainly recommend this. If you've never played Santorini and you're not really into 2-player head-to-head games, I would recommend Santorini New York first. If you really like 2-player abstract strategy games and you have one other person you're always playing with, I actually think you like Santorini more. Just because of how loose this is. This shines more with more players in a way, but certainly works with 2. So anyway, Santorini, New York. Hey everybody, Edo here, and thanks for watching Gaming with Edo. Reviews over here on this playlist, League and Insider videos over here on this one. Subscribe, share, all that good stuff. But most importantly, play some great games. Thanks.